Will it be Shankland and Adams up front against Haiti as Scotland boss Bolivia? Who will miss out in an impressive midfield? And is this the big moment for Ben Gannon-Doak? Hello, I'm Jonathan Sutherland. This is the Scottish Football Podcast. All the news, views and analysis you need on Monday, the 8th of June. Our World Cup opener now less than a week away. And Scotland's strikers are goal shy no more.
What a goal that is! To make it 4-0 Scotland. Shea Adams got a second bite of the cherry.
4 goals for the second game in a row. But who will get the nod up front against Haiti? And it wasn't just the front two who impressed against Bolivia.
Do you know what the lovely thing is? There's 5, 6, 7, 8 changes that Stevie Clarke could make here, and we'd all shrug our shoulders and say, yeah, that's fine.
After a strong showing from the Scotland midfield, is Super John McGinn actually guaranteed a start? And is Ben Gannon-Doak hitting his peak form at just the right time?
But listen, we want to win, whether that's a friendly, whether that's a World Cup game, doesn't matter. We want to go and play well for our pride, but most important thing is the result.
We'll guide you through all of it and much more on today's Scottish Football Podcast.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sports Scotland.
I am delighted to say that we have a couple of brilliant guests this morning. The former Hearts head coach, Robbie Neilson, first of all. And Robbie, you are celebrating a new job. Congratulations. Now manager of Shenzhen Peng City in the Chinese Super League, no less. You've left Lommel and Lee Johnson in Belgium. How long have you been out in China now? Thanks for joining us, by the way. And what's it like out there?
Yes, thanks for having me, Jonathan. Yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind, obviously. I was at Lommel, who were part of the City Football Group. We managed to get promotion, and then I got a phone call to see if I was interested in taking the head coach role with their Chinese team in Shenzhen Peng City in the Chinese Super League. So great opportunity and a huge club with huge potential. They've only been in the city for the last 2 years, but we've got 18 million people in the city. 2 football clubs, one in the top flight, which is us, one in the second division. So it's a fantastic opportunity, yes. So I'm looking forward to getting started.
You've become a bit of a globetrotter. Tampa Bay, now you're in China, you were in Belgium. They're part of the City Group. Obviously, they kind of own Manchester City. They've got stakes in various clubs, including this new one here as well. But is there much of a buzz out there for the World Cup? China obviously didn't qualify.
China aren't in it at the moment, but yeah, there's still, the season stopped because of it, so there's still a big buzz about it. I think the city's so vast that, so many different sports here. Basketball's very big, but they're trying to grow football in the city as well. At the moment, we're averaging 25 to 30,000. They're hoping to get it up to 40 to 50 if we play well and we do well this season. So yeah, it's a massive potential for the club.
Hugely, hugely interesting. We wish you well, Robbie, with that. Also joining us this morning is a man who 20 short years ago was basking in the glory of FA Youth Cup triumph for Liverpool against Manchester City. Ryan Flynn. Ryan, you scored in that 3-0 victory. And this summer, 37 years of age, correct me if I'm wrong, a brilliant season at Arbroath in the Championship. How's the body feeling? A bit older than that young 17-year-old who had impressed so much, Rafa Benitez, back in the day.
Yeah, it was a nice link with the Man City link there. But the body's feeling okay to go for another year, that's for sure. I'll take it year by year. Enjoyed my season at Arbroath, and I'll go one more year, but we'll see how far it takes me. I obviously can't be planning too much further than a year at a time now, that's for sure. I'm sure Robbie can back me up on that one.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. When you get towards the end, it's week by week, never mind year by year.
That's true.
The rich tapestry of world football on display today. Robbie Neilson in China, Ryan Flynn, kind of at Gayfield, let's just say, and we will be discussing the World Cup very much so right now, in fact, because we are still basking, I think, in the glory of another 4 goals for Scotland. It's becoming a habit. 4 goals against Curacao, 4 goals now against Bolivia as we go into the World Cup. And Robbie, if I can start with you, it was brilliant to see Lawrence Shankland and Shea Adams both on the score sheet against Bolivia. Shea Adams with 2 goals as well. Do they have to be the strike force for you against Haiti?
I think they do, Jonathan, to be honest. I think it's a game that if we can go into it with the confidence that we've got off the back of the last couple of games and score a number of goals again, no matter what happens in the next 2 games, it gives us a chance of qualifying if we can rack up a good score. So, yeah, I think definitely playing the 2 of them in that system will give us an opportunity to get off to a great start. So, yes, I would be very, very surprised if both of them don't start.
It was a hugely interesting match. Brilliant watch, obviously, Ryan, for the first half in particular. But it does raise a number of questions because you look at that starting lineup, and it's kind of unusual to see Scotland playing a 4-4-2, but he's done it twice now. Is that the way that he has to go now? Does it have to be a strike force? And same question to you, does it have to be Shea Adams and Lawrence Shankland?
I think the biggest thing with the change of formation is the big build-up is towards, as Robbie alluded to, that this is the massive game. This is sort of like Scotland's cup final against Haiti, to go and get the 3 points, to go and try and secure your status that you're nearly 1 foot into the knockout phase. And with that, it's like going with 4-4-2. I think there's also like a belief within sort of the nation that they want to see it. And the players have backed it up by playing 4-4-2. There's been 2 good performances. The first one was good, and then very good performance against Bolivia there. Of course, the pessimistic fan will say Bolivia weren't really at it. But playing with Lawrence Shankland and Shea Adams, and of course, Ben Doak, you add that to that attacking threat that he really gave. I think it will definitely be those 2 as strikers. I think the main one, if you have to pick one and guarantee him into the team, it'd be Lawrence Shankland. I feel the way he is just now, obviously he's probably his dream move that he wanted. He's scoring goals. Fun enough, he's ended up having a mid-season break that it might have benefited him, having that injury. And he's not the only one, but throughout the squad, there seems to be a real freshness. So probably credit Steve Clarke for his preparation. But for me, yes, it should be they 2. But if I've just to pick one, it's definitely Lawrence Shankland, because he brings out the best in not just Shea Adams, but his teammates as well.
It throws up some new dilemmas, Robbie, because I guess in a way, Steve Clarke is searching for answers to maybe the selection dilemmas that he has going into this big match against Haiti. But I couldn't help noticing, and I'm sure everybody else did, the fact that John McGinn wasn't in the starting lineup for Scotland against Bolivia. And you're suddenly wondering, he feels like he's one of the untouchables, maybe along with Andy Robertson and Scott McTominay, Super John McGinn. But can you actually see a Scotland starting lineup now against Haiti that doesn't include John?
No, I don't, to be honest with you. I think John will come straight back in. I think obviously he's had his campaign with Aston Villa, the European Cup win. I would expect him to come straight back in. I think the 3 games that we play, hopefully 4, 5, 6 that we play, I think you'll see different systems in them all. I think the Haiti one, it's an opportunity to score goals. We'll go with the 4-4-2. I think the Morocco game, it will be slightly different, maybe a 4-3-3. And then we go against Brazil. That will be dependent on what the first 2 results were. If we need something out of it, you might see us reverting back to the 3-5-2 or the 5-4-1, just to give us a bit more strength, because let's be honest, you can't really go and play against Brazil with a 4-4-2, the level of player they've got. So I think you'll see use of the squad probably more than you've seen previously with Scotland, solely because of the different levels of the teams that we're playing.
Well, I'm going to ask you in that case, Robbie, if John McGinn does come into the starting lineup against Haiti, who from that Bolivia match for you drops out?
It's a big question, and that's why, thankfully, I don't need to make the answer. I think it's a tough one. I think, does Gannon don't play, or do we leave him for the Morocco game? Because it's such a quick turnaround of games as well. It's a real tough decision with the players we've got in there. But it's a great one to have, to be honest with you. I think it's been a long time since Scotland have had these questions that they've had to answer, because we've got such a good level of player in these attacking areas, and they're all kind of getting on form. So I'm going to pass that one on to Ryan.
That's a hospital pass there to you, Ryan.
I'm fine with that one. I think John McGinn definitely starts for me. You go with 4 in midfield, then I'd go John McGinn. I'll definitely start. I think it'll definitely be Scott McTominay in there, and I think Ben Gannon-Doak will definitely be in there. So that's 3 out of the 4 that I think, again, you'd guarantee. And I think the final decision would be, obviously, you've got Ryan Christie probably then drop out, which obviously is a big decision. But Robbie was saying there earlier, it's going to change throughout the competition. But I think this is the big one. I think John definitely plays in that game. I don't know. I've got a sneaky feeling it might be Kenny McLean in beside Scott McTominay. John McGinn maybe out on the left-hand side. He's played there before for Scotland on many occasions. So I think that would be the starting team. But who are we to be questioning Steve Clarke? I'm sure whatever comes, I'll be the right call. Just thinking back to the Denmark game, 3 of the goal scorers that day came off the bench. So it could be one of the match winners, and Heroes could be one of those guys that are in the squad on the bench. And
it's one of those decisions, I think, that they're all good players. So Steve might just get the old Scotland Tombolo out and pick the names that we get. Pick the 4 for midfield, because any of the 4 we pick, I think, will do a job against Haiti.
I'm not going to let you off the hook on this one, Robbie. I'm sorry. I know you've just arrived in China and everything's in a state of upheaval, but I'm inspired there by Ryan's midfield selection. So, Ryan, just to clarify, you're going to go for John McGinn. I'm going to say you said Kenny McLean, Scott McTominay, and Ben Gannon-Doak.
If I was pushed, that's the 4 that I'd go for. I'd definitely go for 3 out of that 4. But if I was pushed, I'll go Kenny McLean just over Ferguson. I think, I'll go for it. That's the 4. I'll lock them in. That's my 4.
Robbie, you've got your pen and paper out. I can see it there.
I think they might put John on the right hand side, because he played there for Aston Villa in the cup final. I think, put him there, put Doak on the left, because he's comfortable out there, and then I think definitely McTominay, and I think he might go with Ferguson, just because we're so strong and attack minded in these wider areas and up front, that he might want the legs in there just to get up and down the pitch alongside McTominay. So that's my bet on it. But as we say, it could be anything.
That's interesting that you talk about Ben Gannon-Doak being on the left there, because he was electric against Bolivia down the right-hand side the other night. And for me, I think there's always been that question mark over his final ball, but against Bolivia the other night, Ryan, I mean, it was perfect, wasn't it? It was sensational. It felt like it all came together. You saw him just tearing away from those Bolivian players, which was brilliant. You expect that, but the final ball into the box, it was much better than it has been so far for him in his Scotland shirt, wasn't it?
And I think Steve Clarke was talking about the first game, that he seemed a little bit too excited. So he should be. He's probably chomping at a bit to be playing after the season that he's had, lacking minutes. Again, maybe Scotland are fortunate that we've, through these injuries, that we seem a bit fresher, and that's certainly what he seemed. He was electric, he was threatening. He's a player that gets bums off seats. You want to watch him. As soon as he gets the ball, you sort of expect now something to happen, even if it doesn't come. And I think it's even Scott McTominay's. It's him down the right hand side, and eventually a ball comes in the box. It's an overhit cross, but there's bodies in the box. There's pressure building on the defence. So he's definitely one that is exciting, and I think he can get players on the back foot and get Scotland up the pitch. He's definitely a fantastic ball carrier in the team, and you'll certainly need that with the conditions that will be over there in America, that's for sure.
Robbie, you could see the terror in the eyes almost of the Bolivian players every time Ben Gannon-Doak got the ball, and it was inspirational in terms of getting Scotland up the pitch. In a way, it was good to see him come off in the second half, wasn't it? Because you do worry about his injuries, you do worry about those hamstrings a little bit, and he has to start against Haiti, doesn't he?
Yes, I would hope he does. I really do hope he does, because he brings that 1v1 and eliminating people out of the game, which I think we'll probably need against Haiti, because I would expect to be kind of sit in during the game. So I think there's a number of players that, we're just happy to get them through and get them ready for these games, I think. obviously Gannon Doak, Hickey's the same as well. I've had a lot of injuries over the season, and hence probably the reason why John McGinn didn't start the game is because he's had injuries throughout the season, and it's just prepping him now for the first game. So I think hopefully training the next wee while before the game is nice and light and get everyone fresh.
It's brilliant having these, I guess, selection dilemmas because of the strength of our squad. I think we're hearing from John McGinn later today, so that'll be really interesting as well. While we're just talking about the team, I feel like we know the team so well. Can you almost, Ryan, tell me right now the entire Scotland team that you want to see start against Haiti? Is that putting you on the spot too early in the day? I feel like I could do it in my head. I know what I'm kind of looking for.
For me, the big sort of partnership would be the centre-half partnership as the only question marks. Definitely be Craig Gordon in goals. There'd be Robertson and Hickey either side. The four midfielders said, well, I would say three at the four midfielders would be John McGinn, Scott McTominay and Ben Gannon Doak, with Shea Adams and Lauren Shanklin up front. So it'd be the other central partnership. I quite liked what Robbie was saying about the legs with Ferguson in the middle of the park. Probably maybe would sway towards that, but either or. And then the centre-half partnership, obviously seeing Haiti's goals that they conceded against Peru was both set pieces, which I thought was quite interesting. And it's one that Scotland have been quite good at. So maybe Steve Clarke's decision may be who will be the threats from coming up from the back. So that's probably the two that I wouldn't really know what will be the partnership and what he'll go with.
Robbie, are you able to give us a stab at your starting 11, do you feel? And the central defensive partnership, I mean, that is a good talking point. And the man between the sticks, who should that be?
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper's a big one for me, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, obviously Craig Gordon played, it's 3 games in quick succession as well, which will be probably difficult for him. So it's a decision. Do you want Craig Gordon in goals against Haiti, or do you want him in goals against Brazil, where he's probably going to get a bit more work? So again, like it's such a tough decision for Steve that, Craig's not played a lot of games this season. Can he go 3 games on the bounce in quick succession?
They're just goalkeepers. They just stand.
Yeah, no, but it's also you're a goalkeeper that's 43 years old. You know what I mean? He's only 2 years younger than me, so he's got a long way. It's difficult for him, So yeah, I think that, and then again, the centre half decision is tough. I'd like to see John Souttar play, to be honest with you, just because his distribution. Because I think we'll have a lot of ball within that. I think we'll have a lot of times where he can play balls through, play it through, find Ben Gannon Doak as well. So I think that he will definitely start. The other one is a tough one, yeah. Because look. Hanley maybe with his physicality, aggression. But I couldn't pick that one, to be honest with you.
Jack Hendry as well. A lot of people talk about how he's got the legs to cover the ground. He's obviously played in very hot conditions out in Saudi Arabia for a lot of this as well. Ryan, obviously starting against Bolivia the other night as well. It's interesting just how many aspects there are to it. But I remember speaking to Steve Clarke just before the Curaçao match, and Robbie, you alluded to this as well, talking about how it's going to be very much a squad World Cup. In a way, it's natural for us to get fixated on the starting 11, I feel. But in a way, it's maybe not quite as important. It's hugely important, but maybe not the be-all and end-all if you're not in that starting 11, because Steve Clarke will be ringing the changes out there, won't he?
I just think it's
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm just going to say massive credit to Steve Clarke, the way players come in and out, and it doesn't seem that big news now. That's probably the biggest part, and it might be not a number one goalkeeper with Craig being 43. He may play 2 different goalkeepers in different games, and it could be that with the centre half partnerships, full back partnerships. It seems to be that no matter who plays, the players know exactly their role in the team, and if you're not starting, you're definitely there to make an impact off the bench. And I think it's just huge credit to Steve Clarke that nothing seems that dramatic. And and there's not massive news either way. And I think that between the whole squad, they are together. They all love playing for Steve Clarke. You can see that the way the performances are going in. So it's really positive, and certainly looking forward to the World Cup. And who would have thought that probably 6 months ago, just when it come, we eventually got there. It was great, but it's just the form and how players are playing individually as well as a group. It's really looking forward to this World Cup.
Yeah, it's hugely exciting. I just wanted to quickly knock through a quick bit of team news, because our opponents are obviously Brazil and Morocco in the squad, in the group as well. Brazil's fullback Wesley, he's been ruled out after a thigh injury. In fact, he left the field in tears 15 minutes into their final warm-up match. It was a 2-1 victory over Egypt. Ederson, who's a midfielder, really, he's at Atalanta. Looks like he's going to Manchester United. He's been drafted in as Wesley's replacement. As for Morocco, they've got injury concerns of the Man United defender Noussair Mazraoui and Real Betis winger Abdi Etzel Zuli as well. They both went off injured in the 1-1 warm-up draw with Norway. Real Madrid's Brahim Diaz opening the scoring for Morocco. Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard equalised for the Norwegians. And Robbie, just in terms of these friendlies, they are friendlies. They are warm-up matches for the World Cup. I look at other results as well. I look at France lost to the Ivory Coast, and Spain, they drew with Iraq. We thrashed Curacao and Bolivia. And so I don't want to say they are meaningless. I definitely don't want to say that. I want to bask in the glory. I want to be excited. I feel like we're going into this World Cup on the crest of a wave. But how do you read all these warm-up matches going into these massive?
I think they're super important, and if you win your warm-up game, you'll definitely win your first game in the World Cup. Put it that way. Yeah, it's difficult because like teams are rotating. You see Scotland make changes at half-time as well, and also players don't want to get injured because it's so close to the start of it. So difficult to read into, but all you can take is momentum from it. Scotland have had some great results recently. Everyone's happy. As we spoke about earlier, there's probably only 2 or 3 that you would say are guaranteed a start because of the quality we have in the group. And I think everyone's just, delighted to be there. And I remember back in '98 watching it over on holiday and thinking I wasn't going to go to that one, but I'll go and watch the next time Scotland go. And I'm hoping it was going to be 2002 and we're got 28 years later, So just enjoy it. Let's hope we get a really good start against Haiti and then see where it goes from there.
Did the 18-year-old Robbie Neilson believe that his next World Cup he'd be watching it in China?
As an old man in China with no hair, as a young whippersnapper in Magaluf watching Scotland.
Wow.
Now a man in China.
It's a wonderful world we live in, isn't it? You just don't know what's going to happen next. And Ryan, I've got to ask you, Ryan, as well. We all know about Robbie's life right now. What about yours? What are you going to do today? Is pre-season? What date are we at? Can't be starting yet. Are you still on downtime?
We're June the 16th, so a week Tuesday we'll be back in pre-season. But obviously, for me, it's part-time. It's a lot less. But no, I have to keep myself ticking over. That's for sure. And I'm coaching the Hearts under-14s. So I'm enjoying that. That's as well part-time. So now I'm enjoying little bits and pieces, but officially today will be a day off.
And just finally, it's going to be a bit weird watching this Haiti game at 2:00 in the morning UK time. I don't know, Robbie, if you've managed to calibrate exactly what time that'll be for you.
That will be, I think the games are 6:00 and 9:00, so I think that'll be a 9:00 in the morning one for me. I think the Brazil was a 6:00 in the morning. So a nice early start. 7 hours ahead we are.
Brilliant. And Ryan, are you just going to pull an all-nighter?
I'm actually at a wedding on the previous day, so it's already pre-planned it from straight after the wedding. I'll be watching the game. I've actually got a couple of ex-teammates that will be playing in the game for Haiti as well. Duck and Nazon that played in the game against Robbie and in the playoff game. He played up front for St Mirren that day. and Johnny Placis, the captain. I played with him at Oldham, actually. So it'll be interesting seeing those guys playing against Scotland. So, yeah.
And should we be worried about those guys? I looked actually at Duckins Nazen's goal-scoring record for Haiti. I think he's actually managed, from what I saw, around about 44 goals in 80 internationals, which is good and worrying.
Yeah, he's a real talisman, to be fair, for them. Obviously, watching from afar and just following his progress. He's a player that shoots on sight, that's for sure. Whether it's training games, if he sees the goal, he shoots on sight. It can be erratic at times, but on that, you don't shoot, you don't score. And I think he's got that mentality that if he gets a quarter of a chance, he's letting one go, and in the odd occasion it does go in. But for Haiti, he's pulled off some real upsets, and they've beat some top nations along the way. I think they beat America at one point, I think it was. But yeah,
that's enough talk about upsets.
Bring it right down here.
I'm getting flashbacks to Costa Rica, Italian 90 all of a sudden. I didn't need that this early in the morning. Thanks very much for that. Just very briefly, before we let you both go, predictions, scorelines for Scotland versus Haiti. Robbie?
4-0 Scotland. Another one. Another 4 goals.
I like it. And why not? Obviously, we obviously just score 4 goals every game now. Ryan?
I'll go with a clean sheet as well, but I'll just go for 2-0 Scotland.
We'll take that. Robbie, Ryan, it's been an absolute pleasure this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Absolutely fantastic. The World Cup is not far away at all. Remember, there are new episodes of the Scottish Football Podcast every day as we build up to the big tournament. Do not miss out. Have push notifications turned on in your phone and do subscribe on BBC Sound. Scottish Football, the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks for listening.
It's petty, it's ill-informed.
Are President Trump's cuts having an adverse effect on research?
It's pandemonium.
What number's that in the periodic table?
PD, number 47. I don't know.
I've done the shooting clays before. The longer you do it, the shorter obviously it gets.
When Craig said there he'd been shooting the clays, I imagined him out a back line. Somebody's washing, you know.
William Shatner, his secretary, contacted me to say, when Bill has a question now and again, can he contact you? And then one time he called me up and he wanted to know, David, what is a photon? I'm thinking, this is incredible. Captain Kirk wants to know what a photon is, you know?
I once met a guy who referred to a globe as a bomb app. A bomb app.
A bomb app.
Look at the bomb app. What we normally do is spin the bomb app and we see where we go on holiday.
The Off the Ball podcast, available every Monday on BBC Sounds.